Hey there, my little adventurers. Picture this. You're fast asleep, dreaming about ice cream and flying unicorns, when suddenly someone calls your name. Now, most kids would probably think, uh-oh, did I forget to clean my room again? But this little guy? His name was Samuel, and he was about to have the most epic wake-up call in history. See, Samuel lived in God's house, kind of like the ultimate sleepover that never ends. And tonight, someone very important wanted to have a chat. But here's the twist that'll blow your mind. Samuel had no idea who was calling him. Ready to find out what happens when God decides to have a midnight conversation? Let's dive in. All right, little adventurers, let me paint you a picture. Long, long ago, there was this amazing place called the Tabernacle. Think of it as God's special house on earth. Pretty cool, right? Now, working there was this priest named Eli. He was older than your great-great-grandpa's favorite rocking chair, and honestly, his hearing wasn't exactly what you'd call sharp. But Eli had the biggest heart and took care of a special little boy named Samuel. This kid was like the ultimate helper, always ready to lend a hand and listen with ears as sharp as a superhero's. Samuel lived right there in God's house, serving him every single day. Talk about the best after-school job ever. One night, when everything was quiet as a library full of sleeping mice, something incredible happened. "Samuel!" Samuel bolted upright. That sounded like Eli calling me, he thought. Being the helpful kid he was, Samuel jumped out of bed and ran to his teacher. "Here I am! You called me!" Samuel said. Eli looked puzzled, scratching his head in his nightclothes. "I didn't call you, my boy. Go back to sleep." Plot twist number 1, my little adventurers. Samuel was sure he heard his name, but Eli was just as sure he didn't call. Mysterious, right? So Samuel tucked himself back into bed, probably thinking, well, that was weird. But just when he was getting comfy again, "Samuel?" There it was again. Now Samuel was thinking, okay, either Eli really needs something or I'm hearing things. But being the good kid he was, off he went, round 2. Samuel hurried to Eli's room again, this time looking even more puzzled. "Here I am! You called me!" Eli looked even more confused, maybe adjusting his sleeping cap. "My son, I did not call. Go back and lie down." Okay, little adventurers, raise your hand if you'd be totally confused right now. Samuel was probably thinking, am I going crazy or is something really weird happening here? This time, Samuel was lying there like a detective trying to solve a mystery. His brain was probably going, okay, what's the deal here? Samuel! 3rd time's the charm, right? Samuel went to Eli again, probably thinking, this is getting seriously weird. But this time, something clicked in old Eli's wise brain. His eyes went wide and he realized something amazing. "Go and lie down," Eli said with sudden understanding and awe. "And if he calls you, say, 'Speak, Lord, for your servant is listening.'" Wait. Did Eli just say what I think he said? That it was God himself calling Samuel? Talk about the ultimate phone call from the ultimate VIP. Now Samuel was walking back to his room with butterflies doing backflips in his stomach. Can you imagine? God wanted to talk to him. A little boy. Samuel lay down, but there was no way he was sleeping now. He was listening harder than you listen for the ice cream truck on a summer day. And then it happened. "Samuel! Samuel!" came God's voice, warm and loving. Samuel sat up with reverence and courage, hands folded. "Speak, for your servant is listening." And you know what, my little adventurers? God spoke to Samuel. He told him important things about the future, and Samuel listened to every single word with his whole heart. From that night on, Samuel became one of God's most important messengers, all because he had ears that were ready to listen. So here's the absolutely amazing thing about this story, my little adventurers. God chose to speak to a child. Not the grown-ups, not the super important people, a kid just like you. You see, God doesn't care if you're tall or short, young or old, loud or quiet. What He cares about is whether you're listening with your heart. Samuel had something super special. He was ready to hear God's voice. Now I know what you're thinking, but how do I hear God today? Well, here's the secret sauce. God still speaks. Sometimes through the Bible, sometimes through that little voice in your heart telling you to be kind, and sometimes through other people who love Him. The trick is having Samuel ears that are ready to listen instead of always talking. Because here's a fun fact, you can't hear very well when your mouth is always moving. So this week, my little adventurers, I challenge you to practice having Samuel ears. When your parents ask you to do something, listen the first time, just like Samuel did. When you're praying, don't just talk and talk and talk. Take a moment to be quiet and listen. God might have something amazing to tell you. And when you read Bible stories like this one, ask yourself, what is God trying to teach me? Because trust me, He's got some pretty awesome things to say. Samuel grew up to be one of the most important people in the whole Bible, all because he learned to listen when he was young. And you know what? God has amazing plans for you too. So remember, little adventurers, you're never too young to hear from God, and you're never too small to make a big difference. All you need are ears ready to listen and a heart ready to obey. Thanks for joining me today, my little adventurers. Keep those ears open and those hearts ready.